They were told they were racially inferior. They were told they lacked the intelligence to handle modern fighter aircraft. They were not supposed to succeed. But in the face of bigotry and ignorance, the Tuskegee Airmen prevailed. With skill and bravery, this all-black fighter squadron shattered racist stereotypes. And their exploits became the stuff of legend. Now you're in the cockpit as red-tailed Mustangs take on swarms of Nazi fighters. Experience the battle. Dissect the tactics. Relive the dogfights of the Tuskegee Airmen. July 18, 1944. 66 red-tailed Mustangs of the 332nd Fighter Group, the Tuskegee Airmen, soar over the Po River Valley in northern Italy. Their mission? Escort B-17 Flying Fortresses on their way to bomb an airbase in Memmingen, Austria. Flying with 302 Squadron is Captain Wendell Pruitt and his wingman, Lieutenant Lee Archer.
Pruitt was my man. That's it. If he had gone to hell, I would have followed him.
Pruitt and Archer are known as the Gruesome Twosome. Pruitt, a gifted and supremely confident fighter pilot. Archer, a loyal wingman with great skill and determination of his own.
We used to fly above the bombers and sort of weave over them because we were a little faster than them and we're a little higher, less resistance.
Suddenly, someone calls out enemy aircraft at 3 o'clock low. Heading for the bombers, a single flight of 4 ME-109s. The Gruesome Twosome are sent into action. Archer follows Pruitt through a wide, swooping turn.
The purpose of me being a wingman, I always thought, was to keep Pruitt's back end from getting trouble.
Pruitt singles out one of the ME-109s. The German spots the danger and brakes. The Mustangs turn in pursuit, straining against the pull of G. Archer fights to stay in trail of his lead through the wild maneuvers.
Pruitt would follow him in a turn, and then when he straightened out, he'd make a little short burst.
Tracers streak past the 109. The German brakes. The Gruesome Twosome stick with him, but soon Archer senses that something is wrong.
The other aircraft straightened out 3 times, and Pruitt didn't fire. And so I pulled up next to him and said, you know, what's going on?
Pruitt signals that his guns are jammed. He motions for Archer to take the lead. Roscoe Brown has sighted another flight of 262s, threatening the bomber stream he's charged to protect.
When you have to decide what you're going to do and where you're going to do it, you're going as a fighter pilot. It's all reaction. I knew it was a jet. I knew it was fast. I knew what I had to do. I said, let's go. You don't internalize. There's no analysis there.
Brown and his flight are here. The Germans are here.
Well, I developed a little thing where I would pull up, give it full power, pull it way up, stick back, right rudder, and then flip it. Boom! Go down, and I'm almost at stalling point. So when I flip it and push it down, the speed increases, and then I would pull it back up.
The move is a modified split S that gives Brown an extra boost of speed while putting him on an intercept course with the 262s.
When I came out of the split S, I could see him. He was coming up. And this is within fractions of a second.
Roscoe Brown seizes the opportunity. The German jet flames, shedding debris before the pilot bails out. It's a confirmed victory. The 109 jinks and dives, but to no avail.
I made the burst, it hit him. Then the second burst hit in his right wing, and he bailed out.
Yeah, I'm Steve Atkin, and I work for Hangar 11 Collection.
You've got an incredible smile on your face, like you've got the cat's cream. Why?
Well, we got the cat's cream because we finally finished our Mustang repaint, which we've been working on for about 7 months now. And today is the day of the public rollout here at North Weald.
And how proud are you?
Well, very proud, as you always are at the end of one of these projects, so they do take a lot of time and effort. So this one's taken about 7 months. Yeah, five months is the preparation time, which includes paint stripping, any servicing work that's going on at the same time, and the colour scheme research.
How hard was it to match the colours? How do you know that that's the colour red and, I don't know, the blue? It looks most peculiar. How accurate are you?
Well, in terms of colours, what we tend to do these days is we follow the path of the scale modellers. They're the guys who do a lot of research into historic colours. And United States Army Air Force colours are actually fairly well known and documented, so we use modellers' publications and colour chips in order to reach back into history and match those colours, and then we use a paint supplier that we work with all the time who actually matches the paint and supplies it to aviation specification for the budget.
You must have looked at a few Google images of little tiny model Mustang, Tuskegee.
Yes, a lot. Yeah, if you do a search in Google, obviously on any aviation subject, then a lot of models come up. But yeah, for many years, I think that the modelling fraternity has kind of led the way in terms of authenticity, and now I think the flying warbird operators are kind of catching up finally, and they're sort of reaching the levels of authenticity that the modelers are. Even getting better, hopefully. I don't know.
How authentic then do you think the colour is? Is some little modeller going to come up to you at the show and say, that's not quite right?
Our job is actually to prevent that from happening by getting it right. So we're very keen to use matte paint as well, so that the aircraft looks as authentic and as 1945 as you possibly can. Maybe it's a little bit cleaner than it was in 1945, and that should really kind of be the only difference.
How long has she been Jumping Jacques?
Probably since I think the late or the mid-90s, because she was originally operated by a chap called Jacques Bourret in France, and the name sort of came because it was, you know, Jacques and his crew painted her up as Jumping Jacques. And when she came to the UK with Peter in 2001, she stayed in the same paint scheme, and then he made the decision he wanted to repaint her. But actually, at the last minute, he decided he'd keep her as Jumping Jacques. So although it was a complete repaint, it was sort of painted into a more authentic version of the older paint scheme.
Now she's finally returned to her original colours.
Finally, after many years, she's back the way she was in 1945.
And you look as if you're going to take off.
Yes, I do, and the aircraft has just taken off, and she's just done her first flight, first public flight in the new colours. So.
Anything you'd like to say that I haven't asked you, Steve?
Well, people normally ask, where am I going to be able to see the aeroplane now it's in these brand new colours? And she's actually booked for quite a few shows this year, so it's in 2 weeks' time, it's 1 week's time she's at Biggin Hill, literally a week today, and then the following week she's going to be at Western Supermare on Saturday and Sunday, and then she's appearing at the RAF Cosford show on the Sunday as well, so plenty of opportunity to see her in this fantastic new colour scheme.
My name's Alec Kinane. I'm a volunteer with the Hangar 11 collection.
And you also have got that sort of smile on your face. How long has it taken you to be able to relax and smile like this?
Quite a long time. It's taken a lot of research to find the people who had all the relevant information that we need to recreate an accurate, historically accurate paint scheme.
You're wearing the original colours of Jumping Jacques?
There are the colours of Jumping Jacques as she was painted second time around, but they were never original to this particular aircraft. The original being owned by Jacques Bourret, who decided to name the aircraft after, using his name as a coincidence. So she was called Jumping Jacques. But it turns out that she was actually based at Ramatelli in Italy, and she was part of the 332nd Fighter Group for the 99th Fighter Squadron, and she was flown by two pilots, a Captain Wendell Lucas and a second Lieutenant George Hardy. And George Hardy, we're amazed, is still with us, and
he's got to be 100.
He's in his 90s now, but he's still very active. I'm emailing him, not quite on a daily basis, but frequently, and he always responds very fully, giving us a lot of information. And it was he who first supplied us with the first glimpse of how she would have been. I was also then in contact with Craig Huntley, who's the archivist with the 332nd Fighter Group, and he supplied some further photographic information, and it's those photographs that we've been able to base this on, and it is accurate, so accurate, you won't believe how we've got everything in just the right place.
Will this American veteran ever be reunited with his plane? Are you shipping it to America, or do you think he could make the journey over?
I think, we're going to certainly ask him. I'm going to put the question this evening. Now that everything is done and dusted, I'm going to ask probably the archivist first, because he's a very good friend of George Hardy's, and then we'll ask George, and we will hopefully get him to come over, because I'm sure he'd love to be reunited with his old ship, and they called them ships.
If he can't make it, I'm sure that BBC perhaps might fund a trip and box up
I don't think
all in his saddle.
No, I don't think Peter would like his aeroplane being boxed up anyway. He's got too many airshow commitments, so no, I don't think that one is going to work.
Okay, so the hope is that you'll be able to get him on business class, so that he can put his feet up. And
absolutely, yeah, bring him over in a bit of style.
Stansted Airport?
Who knows? Well, Heathrow, I'm just only down the road from Heathrow, so I can collect him and bring him over.
How do you feel today?
Very elated, very elated.
You've got the same smile as Steve.
I do. Well, I was seeing it again in the air, after all this time, because obviously we've been working through the cold months of the year, from sort of October, November, January, February, and when it's cold in the hangar, so there's been a lot of effort, there's a long slog, and so we're now here, so that's half the reason for my smile, but just completing it and getting, all you guys looking at it and thoroughly enjoying it.
By war's end, the 332nd had downed 108 enemy aircraft, received 744 air medals, 150 distinguished flying crosses, 14 bronze stars, and 1 silver star. But despite the accolades for their efforts overseas, the Tuskegee Airmen returned to a segregated America, indifferent to their achievements.
I'm coming down the gangplank from a boat that brought me back to the States, and at the bottom of the gangplank is a sign that said colored troops to the right, white troops to the left, separated again. And at that time I said, well, this is a pity.
But the war efforts of the Tuskegee Airmen would not be forgotten.
Our experience dispelled the myths and biases that had been a part of Army policy on our capability and how we would be used, so it brought about a change.
In 1948, by order of President Harry Truman, the armed forces of the United States were integrated. The war record of the Tuskegee Airmen in the skies of Europe had shaken the foundations of entrenched American racism. This small but resolute group of African American men, refined by hardship, danger, and adversity, had proven the fundamental injustice of a segregated military.
You've got to know inside that racism is wrong. You got to know inside that you have the capacity like anybody else, and when given the opportunity, you will overcome.
We'd accomplished something important once given the opportunity, and the importance that this shows that it's not happenstance of birth or color of skin that's important. It's really what Martin Luther King really gave our country, content of character.
Well, she's running very beautifully at the moment, very smoothly. During the annual inspection we cleaned out the frame traps, which is a 500-hour item, and so she's running really beautifully. So yeah, it's a bit grubby up there, but it's absolutely fine. I really enjoyed it, and hopefully you did. Did you see me waving? I was blowing kisses as I passed. What was the feeling as you went there? Did you think about the guys there, the unsung heroes of the Red Tails? Yeah, you do. When you fly these aeroplanes, you do think of the guys that fought in wartime, and not flying on relatively sunny days and doing air shows for fun. Guys who put their lives on the line. Guys, not old guys like me. Young boys of 19 and 20 and 21. It's a very, very brave lot of people. George Hardy's still alive, and we're hoping we might get him over. Thanks for coming.